Finally, I think I'm on time here. 7 minutes after, though.
You say Rob, can't remember.
How do you say?
Okay, here we are. We are live,
Robbie.
coming at you from KBFT 89.9 FM. I've got Auntie Karen in the studio here, along with Perry. Perry is our legacy project manager, yeah, and he's the one that's kind of putting all these programs together for you that are centered on our culture, our history, and what else is there? Our music, our arts, our craft work,
Games.
all of that good stuff, all of our
Games.
yeah, we got games, we got plants, yeah, our gathering, anything that has to do with our life here in Net Lake. We're trying to share this information, and Auntie Karen is very passionate about learning your language, and she's doing all she can. She's was all over Facebook there for a while, and now she's teamed up, partnered up with her grandson, and coming here to KBFT, and we're proud to bring this program to you. And if you guys have any questions out there when we're going through this, just feel free to get a hold of us on our Facebook page, just right on the front page. Maybe if we get enough interactivity, we can create a specific Facebook page that will interface with everybody that's listening. That way we can get your questions right away, and we can kind of respond on the fly. How do you say fly?
Uji.
Uji?
Oh, that's a bug fly.
Yeah, a bug fly. Yep.
Yeah, Uji is a fly.
Uji. Okay, there you go. There's your first word of today. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do our introductions, and I don't have my notes in front of me, so I'm gonna give it my best here.
Okay.
Mushkubanes Indigenous cause. Hold on. Migizi Indunde. Onanami Zagaigan. Is that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's in Dunjuba. No.
Yeah, yep.
That's where I'm from, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What did I say before? I said something with my name. Redbird. Mushkubanes.
You said indigenous cause.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Indigenous cause in Dunjaba is Onanami Zagaigan.
I'm from.
I am from Lake Vermilion, and Nanimidada,
Nana Midina.
Nana Midana Ashi Nanan. I got it. Baboon.
Ni.
Nibaboon Nigiz.
Yeah.
Okay, I am 55 years old. Just turned an elder. I'm a baby elder, as they call us. Yeah. Abanuji Awiya.
No, Abinuji Chiayaa.
Oh, Chi Aya'a. Okay, all right. Baby elder. Aya'a is elder. Abanuji is baby. Okay. Ginitam.
Nashkivanas Indigenous cause. Makwan to do them. Speak when they Zagagan and doing Jabba. Nisimidina Babonigas. Nikikadu Janes. Ginitum Kagionik.
Ujo Minogje Kinagu away copies and Dawieguma. I said, hello, who's all listening out there or here? Oma here. Gagil Anuk Anishinaabe Indigenous cause. Karen Indigenous cause. Zaganashi Moin English. Sabipaneza Giganaman Dunjiba. Addicted to them. Nishwaswe Ashi Niwada. No. Lingo Daswe, Nebibonigiz, 76 years old, Nungum. Today, I've been kind of out for a while, and I had a bad sinus infection, and I've been starting to feel good now. Past 2-3 days, I Gawin the Akusisi. Gawin is no. Akusisi is not sick. Minnow, good. I guess I'll let Perry talk. Gigito ang Anishinaabe and Nungum. Wegunashkigi Nungum.
Yeah. So we'll just go through the outline for the first part of the show. It says, so I just say, Wegunash Giz Quen.
Jeba Nagisa Jeba this morning. Nagisa Zekwe, I cooked. Wawan Minawa Gikanap Se Gukush Shashimanomen Minawa Jumanasan. I said I cooked egg and bacon and oatmeal with raisins. Minawa Dudu Shabu and Macadam Skikiwabu. Miatagunigi mi Jinjaba. That's all I ate. You can say eat two different ways. We sinin me Jim eat, but you can use them in different sentences, like if you want to say come sit down and eat. Umana madabin me sinin. And you can have someone sit down, you say the madabin me Jim away. Sit down and eat that. Me Jim away. Me Jin. You could either say me Jin or me Jim. And what else we can? You could go away.
Yeah. We siniwin. Food. Food menu layout. Now Quig is lunchtime, right, Karen?
Now Quag Wisenewin is lunchtime.
Lunchtime.
Or you could say noon food Wisenewin. Now Quag Wisenewin means it's lunchtime.
All right. The first on the menu is Manoman, wild rice. Manoman, and it says it's $8. So I'll Anishmanik. Niswaswe Guabik. Niswaswe Guabik. $8. Niswaswe Guabik. $8. Wawashgeshi Wias. Deer meat. Anishmanik. Nukus.
Medaswabik.
Yeah.
$10. Medaswabik.
Bijiki Wias. Beef. Bijiki Wias. Anishmanik. Gagiwanik.
Jangiswabik.
Yeah. Miguel. Baka Akwe Wias. Baka Akwe Wias. Chicken meat. Anishmanik.
Medaswabik, Minawa.
Miguel. Now this one I got from the dictionary, Graham. I don't know if a boajigun, roasted fish. How do you say roasted fish in our language?
Well, that would be the way, it's like frying it.
Frying it, yep. A boajigun, roasted fish, or meat, roasted meat. Anishmanik.
Medaswe a Shanish. Medaswe a Shanish Wabik.
Yeah.
$12.
And this is my grandma's favorite. She loves soup. How do you say soup, Graham?
Naboob. Naboob.
First one is Manomin Naboob. Manomin Naboob. Wild rice soup or broth. Anishinaabe.
Ningodaswe. Wabik.
Yeah. Alright, I'll try this one. Gichi Ogini Naboob. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't want to butcher it.
Yeah.
Gichi Ogini Naboob.
Mm-hmm.
Tomato soup. Anishinaabe gagi wala.
Ningodas. Ningodas Wabik.
Yeah, Ningodas Wabik. $6.
And then this one dumpling soup. We just say where's your gun now, boo, for dumpling soup.
Yep, Kweishikan Nabu. That's good that we're doing this because, like I said, a lot of the ones when my Gram's not in the office with me, I'll have to refer to that John D. Nichols Ojibwe dictionary. That's where I'll get the ones where I have to fill in the blanks.
The one that I always go to, and if anybody's like online, it's kind of nice too because it's on your phone. Kind of waiting for them to turn it into an app, but I know they got a lot of resources on there as far as language, and that's the one at UMD. Let me see if I can find the address. Go ahead, guys. Sorry.
Okay. Baka Akwe Naboob. Chicken soup. Anishinaabe.
Ningodas Wabik.
Ningodas Wabik. Dumpling soup. Bakwejiga Nabu. That's how Boys Fort dialect says it.
Yeah.
But they have it as Bisigadana. Bisigadana. No, Bisigada.
Yeah, I never heard that word.
Yeah, there's even a word for fry bread they have over. How do we say fry bread?
We say just let's see, fry. You just put fry in front of that quasigun. Fry. See here, let me think. Circusquana? No. Fry. Circus. Jeez, I can't think. Fry. Anything that's fried. That's the word you use.
I'll find it here.
Fry.
Okay.
Like fry meat.
Sasso.
Sasaquan.
Yeah, you're getting close.
Zasaquan.
Zasakokwe. No?
Yeah. Zas.
There it is. Yep. Za.
How's it spelled?
It's spelled
Zaasakokwe. Zasakwe.
Yeah.
Zasakokwe.
Sasaquan.
Yep. Zasakokwan.
Quasigan fry bread.
Okay, so we'll move on to the desserts. Whoops. Wishkubun. It is sweet. Right, Graham? Is that?
Yeah, wishko. Or you could say wishko be. Zama wishko be. Too sweet. Zama wishko be.
Zamo wishkubi.
Like sugar.
Auntie, can you move up a little bit? Your
Okay.
people want to hear you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, you can pull your chair up a little bit.
Like wishkobun. It's like a sugar. Zizabakud is sugar, and the way you say candy is zizabakudus. See, you could see that sugar. Dus would be like candy. Zizabakudus.
Yeah.
So that's Perry's significant other is Her
Yep.
Indian name?
Yeah, Zizabakud.
Zizibakud.
Bonjour, Zizabakud, if you're listening.
Wishkubi Bakwajigan or
Yeah.
Wishkuban Bakwajigan.
That's the same with cake.
Cake. Sweet
or
bread, huh?
Or rolls, anything, yeah.
Sweet rolls. Cake, sweet rolls.
Zizabakudos candy.
Anishmanik for the Wishkubi Bakwajigan.
Oh. Ningudaaswabik.
Yeah. And then for the candy, Zizibakuduns. Niwan Guabik.
Yeah.
Neo Guabik. Niwan Guabik. Okay, so the next one is Bitusijigan.
You know what?
Because that's I've heard you use Bitusijigan, but it wasn't.
You
for
know what?
pie.
Bituskijigan is bloomers.
Bituskijigan?
Yeah.
Then the dictionary they had this for pie, Bitusijigan. Bloom, but in our bloomers,
Yeah.
undergarments.
I learned that from Jenny Woodenfrog a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, we were talking about something and she said Bitushk. I said Bitushkishigan. Kini duk, she said Bitushkishigan. She said, yourself bloomers. She said.
Mini Quinn, she or he drinks.
Thursday noonday miniquin.
Noonday Mini Quinn.
It's when you're thirsty. Yeah.
I remember you used to tell me too when I'd come down to visit, you'd say, Nashkiban Nash to go Mini Quinn, eh? Please drink this, and it'd be like tea. She had either made tea. That's what I forgot to put on there, tea. Nibish.
Nibish. Nibish. I made
Nibish.
Jiwabu.
Jiwabu. Pop or soda. Anishmanik. Gagewanuk.
Niwabik.
Niwabik. Nigwilk. Nibi. Water. Nibi.
Nibi.
Apitamin Nibi. Honor water. Water is life. Mishimin Nabu. Nabu. Mishimin Nabu. Is that how you say?
Mishimin Wab.
Mishimin Wabu.
Yeah.
Mishimin Wabu. Apple juice. Niwin Guabik.
Shimin is an apple.
Shimin.
Wabu is like a water, apple, water juice or whatever.
Makade Mushkiki Wabu. Nagi Minikwe Makade Mushkiki Wabu.
Jeba at the Gonigi Minikwe Makadem Shkiki Wabu. This morning I drank coffee, I said.
Napuguzi.
Yeah, Nigi Shkuzi, Nanan de Bay Ganek. I woke up at 5 o'clock and Nigi Shatun Makadem Shkiki Wabu. See, you could see the color. Makade is black. Mashkiki is medicine. Black medicine water. Shkiki Wabu is like water or something.
I like this. You should open a stand. You got a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Graham, you should.
That would be good to just have a stand at a powwow and just have everything in Indian, you know.
Yeah.
Nibish, you know.
I forgot Nibish on there too. Yep, Nibish.
You
Tea.
can put
So you'd say Gijig Nibish?
yeah, cedar tea.
Okay.
Oh, cedar tea.
No, big $5. No. Sam spagunde, they'd say. That means too much. Usam spagunde.
Sam Spagunde. Sam
Yeah,
Spagunde.
Like that at that rummage sale yesterday. I try to use my language when I go in public. I held up something and I said, Anish Minek. How much? I don't know if anybody knew what I said. But I just said, oh, I said, how much? Anishinaabe. And then someone said, no, big. They said $5. No,
What?
Oh.
I think that's a common phrase. I've heard a lot of my native friends who don't know that much of the language. They'll know Anishinaabe. I've seen it go around on Facebook of quite a bit when people are selling stuff, like their items on Facebook, buy and sell. But yeah, Anishinaabe.
How much?
How much?
What about what time is it? How would you say what time is it?
Anin sa tibay kanek.
Anine
Anin, or you can say Anish and Satibay Ganek.
and Sat
Yeah,
and Sat Debay
Ganek.
Gane.
Yeah, Anish and Satibay Ganek. Tibay Ganek.
Yep, and if you wanted to use Gizeze Quain in a different sentence, you could use, say, Miskopanes asked me, say, if he said, Ashkibanes, Andi Ninushe, where's my aunt? I could respond, Ninukumis, Anjana Mizik, Gizeze Quain. She's busy cooking. So there's different ways, like you said, like Grandma's, like Nukumis Karen has said in the past, like there's many different ways you can combine these sentences.
These words. Yeah.
These words, yep, words in the sentences, and you just gotta keep listening and hearing and figuring out which word goes with which, and it becomes easier after the first few months, huh?
Yeah.
First months and years.
Then it'll probably take me a year that's if you listen daily, listen to what words I'm saying, then within maybe 6-8 months you can start catching on. But you have to hear it. Gabeg yijik every day.
I know. I think that's what kind of might be tripping people up too. Is I was just noticing, when we're trying to share this, we're reading at the same time, and then that part of it also makes a little bit of a hurdle. You know what I mean, when you're trying to read
Yep.
and pronounce it right, because there's everybody has their own way. I've seen that even like on the internet. There's different ways that people spell words, even if it's the same pronunciation. They seem to have different. Either they use a U or they use like an A for
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if it's even possible. I suppose they would have done it by now. You know what I mean? Kind of got everything almost standardized, I guess. But yeah.
About 3 nights ago, I had a talk with my grandson. He's 17.
Mm-hmm.
He graduated in Anthony. They called him Ants, A-N-T-S.
Anagoons.
Yeah, because why they called him Ants is because when he was a baby, he was really small and reminded me of a little ant, little anagoose.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he come in my bedroom. It was about 10:30 at night, and he sat in my chair, and we start talking about the language. I asked him. I said, Anthony, I said, what do you think about the language from a young person's mind? I said, a young person. I said, I'm old. I said, and you might have different ideas of the language. I told him. Then he started talking. He said, the language was Anishinaabe language was my first language, and then English when I went to school. He said, and because I heard more Indian language at home with you than I did in school. He said so. So he said, but he said, Grandma, he said, there's different ways of teaching. He said, in he's on that Facebook all the time. He said he's learning Chinese language, and he knows a lot because he has a good friend in water.
And that friend is teaching him when he talks to, he communicates with him through his game system and his Facebook chat.
Yeah, but then you know what he said about, he gave me ideas about teaching kids around here. He said, you know what? He said, don't teach them the English way. Teach them the Indian way first. I wish I could get him on the radio here to talk about what he talked, because you know we need young people's minds too, you know, and what they have to say. Like maybe we can get 3 or 4 young kids that just, you know, that are in high school to come and he could do a mock talk here, you know, and just give their points on what they think of the language, and you know where they, and that's what he was saying. And I told him, I said, you know, I said he would be a good teacher, I said. And he told me how a way to teach. He said, that's how I learn. He said, that's how I learn the language. He said, or just by listening to you talk, he said, you know. But yeah, that's we talked about almost 45 minutes, and I forgot a lot of the stuff that he said. That I was going to have Perry go sit down with him and.
Well, we could actually bring guests on here too, because we can just patch in as many microphones as we need to. So we could invite. I mean, we've got open invitations to Nicholas, right?
Yeah, he wants to be. I wanted eventually in the future to get Nicholas DeShaw, Anthony, your grandson, cousin Anthony. Maybe even, I'm hoping it'd be awesome. Charles Garola, Anton Troyer. That's aiming big, but Charles Garola, Anton Troyer, Nicholas DeShaw. There's many other people too, like Vern Adams. He speaks for Tower. There's so many choices. I think you were even mentioning Jeremy Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of speakers left from Boys Fort and other tribes left that would probably love to come on the show, you know, and share their insight, their perspective, and just give a little knowledge of what on the language, how they feel about it.
I see on Facebook they just started another group, huh? Wasn't that one? I just got an invite from somebody.
Healing, something about.
Yeah. And I think that's another good start. I don't know. I mean, every once in a while these things pop up. You know what I mean? But I hope everybody's active on that. It sounds like it always sounds like a good idea and that. But
I joined. I pressed join, and then I wrote a comment on there about like I kind of feel sad when Chaz used to do stuff down there, like bring like he brought Anton Troyer or
Wagush.
Yeah. Wagush Bisha. Anyway, there's not too many people showing up when they have these things, you know. There's got to be a way that we can get. Well, we can't make them, you know. We can't make them come or we can't make them learn their language, and so I suppose it just has to be the ones that want to learn, you know, because you know our kids especially should be learning this. So we should try to encourage our children to learn, and pretty soon. I said about 10 years from now we'll probably won't have nothing.
Well, I'm hoping we're kind of turning a corner, you know. you know, just the whole journey along the language, I don't know what you want to call it, continuum or whatever. I think it's, you know, like from when everybody spoke the language and it wasn't anything to when first contact, you know, and then coming of the church people and all of that. So, and then just how slowly, well, I guess quickly we've lost it, you know. And so I think it's a journey, like you said. If we can encourage and put these out here, that everything that is known today, and try to preserve as much as of it as possible. You know, I do believe that there are kids that are like, they don't know it yet, but they're gonna carry it on.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what that point is, and I know as a teacher, I'm sure you would want everybody to be right here, right now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's a lot easier. I know what you're saying, but you got to hear it, you got to use it, and just like we refer, or I'm referring to my notes, it would be easier if, you know what I mean, we dialect on or talked on a daily basis. I mean, but in that way we would be able to hear it, and then I wouldn't have to refer to my notes or anything like that, because I'm going here, you know, a Waganane, you know, and I'm trying to, simple words like that, you know. I mean, it's just about using it and hearing it, I would think, and then hearing somebody else say it to you, and then recognizing it itself. There's a lot to this learning, you know, and
especially when we're 70 years behind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
because I remember Lester's parents, after I got married in 1963, we lived with them, and I noticed around that time in the early 60s, that's when they even quit hardly using the language anymore. They'd use it between themselves, but they never try to teach any, but they used to talk the language in front of their grandkids and, you know, everybody else. But that's when the whole community started losing it, you know.
And that's kind of, I bet you that was right around too when everybody took relocation.
Yeah, that's when we did in 64. I think we went to Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, and I would probably say that contributed a lot to, you know, I think it even, maybe from living here, not necessarily being left behind, but, you know, to have all your kids move away like that, I think it was kind of maybe a little bit discouraging. Well, maybe it was kind of like it was kind of predicted, you know, that the kids would leave and that the language would die. Maybe that's the reason why they didn't come back and try to teach your kids and your grandkids. You know, so, and then plus also, you know, Native people they deal with. I think you have a lot of the statistics about health concerns, you know, and all the I don't know what the hardships, you know, that we live through. And not only that, and I think Perry, you recognize a lot about historical trauma, and you can kind of tell that, you know, when we live through these times, that a lot of these attitudes, or a lot of these outlooks on life, on our culture, on our language especially, you know, it gets reflected into the next generation, you know, or they kind of see it. And I think maybe they saw it like, okay, this was foretold that we would lose our language, but they also foretold that it would come back.
Yep.
You know, so I think this is part of the process, and I really appreciate you and your passion in sharing this knowledge, you know, especially with our community. I think it's important, like you said, with our dialect, just to know the little subtleties, I guess, of the differences in how we spoke the language here.
Yeah, and then there's people that boy sport can go to, like they can go to Anishinaabe tongue, Harvey Thompson. You know, they can come to me, they can come to Perry, you know, they can even go to you, learn little what you know, you know, and
Yeah.
Celia Ganier, Celia, she knows a lot, she's a fluent speaker. You know, Rosaline knows some, you know, just
Jay, they can go to
Jay,
Jalen
yeah.
Strong.
and, you know, Squeak. We can go to Squeak. He
Wow.
only knows Jongadier. You know?
Well,
But,
it's probably why we're experiencing some sun here.
yeah.
But yeah, speaking of that, you know, what you just mentioned, I was asked, and I don't know why I was asked, maybe just because I was brown or something. But a lady at the Y store asked me. She said, "How do you say fawn?" You know, and I told her. I said, "Well, maybe it's just Wawashkeshi."
Wawashkeshi.
Yeah, Wawashkeshi. Or here's another way. I don't know where they say this in particular, but Gitgakunst. Does that sound right? No. Gitgakunst. I'm going to press on it here and see where if it says a region here. Here's what it is. Let me see. SG. Sug. Sug?
Yeah, that's more than one.
Oh, okay. Let's see if you guys can hear this here. You gotta get that resiness in it. Gitgakunst.
Oh, yeah, it's Canadian.
Oh, okay, that's what it is, huh? That's what I thought.
You know, I left my paper home, but I got the word for like a buck. A
Iabe?
deer. Yeah, and then a moose.
Mm.
It's almost the same thing.
Oh, really?
Iabe, yeah.
Iabe.
A
Who was
male.
asking me? Somebody
Male.
just was talking about that this morning. Oh, Darren.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember how he said it.
E-E-B-A-E-B-E.
I can't remember, but he said it weird anyway.
A-R-B, yeah.
So I tapped him on his shoulder here. I said, Iabe.
Yeah, because
Iabe.
they were saying, someone was asking me, how do you say a buck? You know, one of them big deer, them big,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember hearing JS talking about a buck, a bear. Yeah, like going back to that language again, like me and Lester left together to relocation, but both of us were fluent and we knew the language. Your dad knew the language too, but when he went, he was by himself. You know, he didn't have nobody to talk to, or
Yeah.
then when he did meet your ma, she had a different language.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe she was starting to learn some of our language, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but just by being with her. And then,
Yeah, she did good. Remember you guys went up to Lakehead up there?
yeah,
She said she
she
learned
was-
a lot when she went up there.
yeah, Clara, Joanne, she was good at the language, you know, and her and Gary were.
Mm-hmm.
So was Gree Porter and Mary Porter. They both knew the language. You know? So there was quite a bit of us that went on relocation that knew the language. But when everybody wouldn't talk over there in a big city, you know, and then everybody else lost most of the language, you know, because by not hearing it every day.
Mm-hmm.
But me and Lester were together, and we just kept talking, you know, together. And then we come back again, and you know.
I think that's what was the plan there, was like a divide and conquer kind of thing, you know, where they took everybody and separated them and, you know, kind of put them on their own, alone, you know, like you said, my dad just went out there by himself and then, you know, like that. So It's unfortunate, and I know it was kind of it's crazy how these government officials can come up with ideas like that, you know,
Yeah.
kind of
Oh.
really evil. No.
Oh, to get rid of
Yeah,
get rid of the
get rid of the culture, get rid of the language,
mhm.
you know, and nothing against people that you know live there and have survived
Yeah.
there and have thrived. I mean,
Mhm.
more power to them, you know. But I know it's something like you always said, you know, are we even going to be Indian people anymore? You know, if we
Mhm.
lose our language,
Yeah,
and that's a real possibility just from a legal
Mhm.
standpoint.
yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
I don't. I believe it's
That's-
kind of written into the laws somewhere. I know that's kind of the whole premise of the government is to,
Mhm.
you know, define these things in legal terms. And so if they kind of basing the Native American status, or I don't know what, on, you know, factors like language, factors like culture, you know, that type of thing. I think it's written down somewhere.
And that's one of the first there's four things of the sovereignty, that the language,
Oh yeah. Yep.
you know, that, and right now it's really unique because only like a couple people know it, you know.
Mhm.
And then after them people go, then there ain't going to be anybody.
Yeah.
And what they go, you know, I was just thinking, what if they did a, what do you call, on the in order to go in to be a tribal leader, you have to know some of your language before you go in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and even, you know, other things like they making it hard for like Perry to go in a classroom because he don't have a degree,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that shouldn't be, because he knows the language, you know. Even
Yeah.
you, if you know a little bit, teach it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You don't
Well,
need that.
As an example, I've always said, or about my experience learning the language here, from being a young guy, I would probably say, well, I think when we moved back here in '76, I was in third grade, somewhere around there. But, you know, all the language instructors and all the resources that were here, and then just hearing a lot of the stories, you know, and just, I guess, just people kind of teasing each other in our cultural way. That knowledge was shared, but a lot of it left a lot of questions. So I know the animals, you know, like you do an awesome job with the Head Start kids, and I remember you. I think it was my second or third year here. Oh no, when you retired, that last class that you had, they got up there, and remember I was telling you, Nikki, not Nikki, but Danny, her boy, he got up there, and then I think it was, I'm trying to remember who else was in that class, but holy man, could they ever, you know, they had a vocabulary a lot.
Yeah, that was Travis Morrison's youngest one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He was really good at it. That,
Yeah.
I think it was Sean. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was very interested in the culture.
Yeah.
The other boys weren't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I said, there's always one person out of
Yep.
family that's interested in
Yeah.
their culture and language.
Mm-hmm.
But if he would have kept on, you know, but
Yeah.
go in, you know.
I think, well, that's what I was saying or getting to, was that, you know, when you learn it at that point, they have a nice vocabulary, and then they move on, and then it's like you get into the next grade or the next higher level, and it seems like a lot of the material was repeated, you know, so I might have, in my language packet, I probably had, when I used to hoard, I kept all my materials, you know, all my papers and stuff, and I swear I could probably bring out maybe 6 to 8 different documents that had Wawashkeshi on it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But they always repeated that all the way through, you know, and I always wished that they had come up with another level, you know what I mean, up above that. Like I like all the little words that you're sharing with us here, you know, like later or after a while, or you know, just the conversational stuff, you know.
And there's always one word that'll stick in your head. You'll know it forever. This, well, that was back in this, I started in 73. I started working Head Start. Anyway, this little boy, he was fascinated with one word, Wawashkeshi. He just everything was Wawashkeshi to him. And he didn't come to school that day. And I said, the next day he came in and, where were you yesterday? Gawino Gidisha Gikino Mage. I told him, you didn't come to school. I told him. Oh, he that's how fascinated he was with the word Wawashkeshi. So once in a while when we go by Cook, I think, oh, there's a, wonder what old Ken Wawashkeshi's doing.
That was a cute one.
Those kids can really retain those words, huh?
Yeah, and they're,
Mm-hmm.
they don't say them wrong at all. They just repeat them. Some of them elders too, like not elders, but the ones that are they,
She wants you to talk about names such as mom, dad, grandma, and so forth. And she wants to learn the Boys Fort dialect for titles. Special request from Jess Anderson.
Okay. Well, I'll start the first family, the first ones, and then we'll go on. Like there's mother, then mama, mother, then mama, dad, then dede. Others, other say baba or mama on the day. Like dede. When you're going to say ma, you put my dad, the dede. Then nukomis, grandma. Nimishumis, grandpa. Nimishumis.
to interrupt.
I liked how Gio brought up there's like a gap when from Head Start to like early on, kids are exposed to like the language they are through their cultural, like Net Lake does it, Circle of Life does it for White Earth. Fond du Lac has language programs, but then there's like a gap between like, what would you say, like 4th, 5th, maybe 6th grade to like 9th or 10th grade, 11th grade even. Like a 5-6 year gap where they don't hear it anymore.
Right.
And I think if we could fix that, find a way to implement programs in that 5 year, 6 year span, I think it would help these kids a lot. And that's why what I'm doing now is with our game boards, I'm trying to design a booklet on how, because each of our game boards, the children's ones, comes with like 24, 32 learnable phrases. So I want to design and create learning material like packets or pamphlets to give to the people, our customers who bought them, and just have like, say like, what was it on that one board, everyday words, shkuzin or wawash geishi. There's certain phrases like George was talking about, you'll hear one word but it just gets repeated and they don't show you how to use it in a sentence. So I think if we designed learning material, little booklets to go with those game boards, I think that would take those kids a long way later. Like wawash geishi, you could add wias to the end of it, make it deer meat, or nawaba ma wawash geishi wawash geishi, I saw a deer or I see a deer. So adding little stuff like that, I think will help, like, because it seems like, yeah, there's, and then Rosetta Stone, there's an age gap, age 13 and up. So I think that Indian country, Anishinaabe country, is doing really good with creating material, but I just think that we're missing that little gap between ages 5 to 13. That's what I want to say.
You know, I have 2 little great granddaughters that are enrolled in Fond du Lac, and they have everything. Somebody should go visit over there and see their Anishinaabe school.
Yep.
Yep. And they even have the bus, the name of the bus on there. They have their Indian names on the bus, on the outside of the bus, and they have a real good school there for their little kids, and they're only like 5, I think 5 and 6 or 5 and 7. Anyway, that's where they're going to be heading. They're going to be going to school this fall, and then they'll be learning more. She won the Miss Fond du Lac Princess at this last powwow they had, and she did the invocation on introducing herself. Well, they have their grandparents teaching them, so. But somebody, they should go visit other programs like Anishinaabe programs.
Well, there's quite a few. I know there's that magnet school that was in Duluth, or still is in Duluth, and there's one at LCO that is kind of like one of the leaders, and I know they're developing one up in Red Lake right now, and of course they do language stuff over in Leech Lake and White Earth, I believe. Yeah, White Earth the guy program also. So a lot of these things, yeah, and you're right. And I know they do conferences. I've been to some of those. What are they, Anishinaabe Dakota Language Consortium or something like that. But yeah, I'm sure there's different methods that they're sharing to share the language. And we'll probably be sending Perry down to attend those as soon as whenever they come together. And usually they do that down at Mystic Lake, I think it is.
I know, I just missed that last one.
Mhm.
We could have went, Graham. But yeah, I didn't have the application turned in time. The presentation.
Tuesday, what is that? We're gonna go to.
Oh, that's the. I think it's. Is it? Hold on, let me see. I think it's. It's a conference at Fond du Lac College for the youth, ages 8 to 17. They asked us to present our game boards, and then 2 presentations. The first one, they want you to talk about the game boards. The second one, they want us to actually play the game boards with the youth there. And they said they wanted to purchase games too. But I think it's like a conference about like awareness, some type of healthy awareness. I think it was it MADS, American Indian Alcohol and Drug Studies. It's some type. It has to do with some type of big organization with they focus on Native American health and well-being. Some type of conference like that. But yeah, they're incorporating culture, language. I think they're gonna have other presenters there too.
No, I can hear some kids. Just a reminder to our Boys and Girls Club, and then that Auntie Karen's going to go into a little story time at about 11:45, which is about 35 minutes away. So stand by for that, and just a little reminder. Or if you got kids out there, bring them around the radio, and Auntie Karen will have something to share. My grandmother said, listen.
It's the only way you're gonna learn, by listening and.
Yeah.
I guess we could go back over the your information here with the food.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just for the listeners that
Just see what
just
they
joined
have.
us.
Fortune Bay.
Oh yeah, they got the graduates, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, that's always good when they do that.
Oh, let me see that. That's cool.
Yeah, doing something about our kids. I wish we had somebody to write grants to fix up our reservation, like put the store and the school and the RTC office, and that way people would learn instead of probably that's what they say, learn your language first and everything else will follow.
Mm-hmm. Well, we would certainly help out in that regards. I know, one of the things that I don't know is missing. How about those welcome signs that used to be up there, Been to Game?
Oh yeah.
Are those little flags on the light poles? Are they in place or are they gone?
I think they're gone.
Yeah, those were nice. We should have we should order a bunch of flags with different sayings on them.
Mm-hmm. Like that little bitty sign out there. It says Sabikanezagi. It's just little. You can't even see it. You see it out there?
Where? By the res line?
Res line.
Oh, okay.
It's so tiny,
Mhm.
It should be Micha.
Yeah.
Big.
Yeah.
That's how you say big. Micha.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of trying to hide it. It's just little.
Mhm.
You have to really look for it in order to see it.
Yeah, I don't
And
think I've
it's
noticed
only
it.
about that big,
Oh.
that big only.
Is it the green sign?
Yeah,
Is it?
it's a little green sign. It's almost way to the ground. It ain't way up there.
Yeah, I know. That's like the they took down that reflective sign right by the where the old dump used to be there, up on top of that little hill where you come around there by Mavis's village limits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, remember they used to have village limits there, and then now they just have Net Lake. Remember they used to have a Sabi Kinezagi thing on there.
Yeah, I see they took down that eyesore cemetery sign. That's gone. Anthony won that contest, but they'll probably put up somebody else's.
Oh, for the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Darren was supposed to head that, and a bunch will be Kimski.
Mhm.
You don't know what I'm saying.
Well, maybe it was meant to be because that artwork really made that game board, that advanced learner game board we have.
That's this one here? No.
Yeah, that was supposed to be the
Graveyard sign.
cemetery
Oh, okay.
sign, but we slapped it on a game board cover and
Mhm.
it worked.
As long as they didn't want to use it, you know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and we cleared it. We cleared it too. I think there was no problem. I don't think anyway. But it would still good. I think it would still be nice as a cemetery sign because it says both Net Lake Tower on the titles, and all citizens or everybody's pretty much almost a descendant of Net Lake or Tower, right? From Bois Forte, mainly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's fitting. Be nice to see, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Be.
I see they have one in Tower, Onamane Zagi Igan,
Yeah,
right
at
out there. Yeah, that's good, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're further away from us. I mean, they're closer than the language than us, I think, with signs. No, that's all they got to do is put up on a Head Start and in their kitchen.
Yeah, I think did I send those pics to you? The ones about I think it was Wyatt. They have all the, like, even the office names, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Department of Natural Resources
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
Tribal Council Chambers and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tribal Center.
Mm-hmm. Hospital clinic.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought those were nicely done. I don't know exactly where they get them. I know there's companies out there that sell all the signage.
Yeah.
And so those are the, I don't know, maybe we could find some way to get it done,
Yeah.
Harry.
You
There's a
know,
way. There's.
They told me, I tried this years and years ago, and they told me that the words are too long.
Yeah, they are.
You-
No.
And you gotta pay for every word.
Yeah.
Like,
Get a sign for a blueberry pie. No.
13 words for the reservation, you know.
Uh-huh.
13 letters, I mean.
Well, I saw that news story, or it was something on, I think it was the news, TV news they were covering, where they renamed the trail system in Duluth.
Mm-hmm.
They used what's his name, Ricky Defoe. He helped rename a lot of the trail names, and they were after, of course, what the people down there had called them, right? So yeah, they were long, big signs, you know what I mean? But
You didn't care about the cost of a letter. No.
so yeah, I think they did that. Like yeah, it was quite a bit that he renamed. Actually, I'm gonna try to find a news article on that.
Yeah, I'd like to see that before my time comes.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not, though.
You know, something went quiet here. What was it? The air system? That's what it was, huh?
Yeah.
That's why I was wondering why it's so nice and quiet now. I see. All right, well, maybe we should take a quick break here.
On way bada. Is that what he's singing?
Mm-hmm. And then we'll play some music for you, and we will be right back with the last part of Anishinaabe Moen with Auntie Karen.
Kidanagam. You sing. Kidanagamo.
Wait, some more coffee real quick. You need anything?
Maybe macadamia skikiwabu. Bungi. Oh,
Oh, George got you some, but I'll get you.
okay.
I think you went cold and you were just sitting
Yeah,
there.
probably
Okay.
cold.
I'll get you some though.
Okay, I think we're back. Yeah, there we go. Sorry. We're on Facebook Live also, so if anybody wants to check us out, you can do so on Facebook Live. Or just go to our Facebook page, that's kbft.org, and you can see a little bit about what Perry is displaying right now, and I'm going to let him explain this new game that him and Auntie Karen have come up with, and he's going to talk about it. So,
Yeah, so, oh, go ahead, Graham. You want to go first? Kingdom?
Ian.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so what you're looking at is our our fourth entry in the children's game boards called Banuji Dijike Niswe 3. Child Play 3. That's what it translates to. And this one teaches weather words, counting, colors, and money. So each of our game boards we're trying to cover every aspects of the whole word makeup, you know. So we even have like an animal game, everyday words, foods. Now we have a weather and colors and counting money. So we're trying to build a curriculum for these kids, you know, from ages 5 to 13. You know, that's what, you know, even 4 to 13. You know, you can play that with your children. They're really fun. And this one comes with like play money. But we can put this down now, Graham. I think we showed them.
Yeah, you will learn the colors and the money.
All in one. Yep.
Yeah, you can like the school. You can basic big. So you see basic in there. One. Well, big is $1.
Mm-hmm.
$1. And like 100. Ingodok. That's 100. And then blue is Ozawashko. That's the color Ozawashko. And Ingodok is $100. Then there's orange. Nisko Ozawa. Bezigwabik. Yeah, orange. Having a hard time with my fingers.
And there's so many of them in there too, so it is.
Then there's like 5, and you learn how to say 5. No, none. And the yellow Ozawa. No, Vic. $5. Vic is a dollar sign.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a little boy, with his ass on there. No, Vic. And your kids can learn by counting.
My little girl was playing this game with my grandma last weekend, and she just really liked that playful, colorful money, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So they'll, you know, visual learning. So
Then there's 20. Niish. See, you could say Niish. You say Niish in there too. Niish. Tanawabik. $20. And Ashkibuk.
Ashkibuk, purple.
Mm-hmm. And another way to say it is, how did you say that one?
Minande. I think it's
Yeah.
Minande. That was just the
I think that
the
you
dictionary
could,
version.
you could use that too, because there's different ways, you know, you can use that.
I'll put Ashkibug on the next set though, with that Minande.
See, that's a color of you could see like purple, like blueberry color, Minan.
Yep. And
Minande.
Minande.
So that's good there. We can use that. And that's another old word that I used to hear my grandma and them say Ashkibuk.
Ashkibug, purple. And you said there was a different. Orange is also another dictionary one I found. I had to use the internet for that one. That's the only word I had to use the internet for because I couldn't. But there's teaching materials. There's a company out there that does colors for Ojibwe colors. They use Misko Ozawa, but I know you said that we have a word for orange, but it's just, I think it's just hasn't been said in a long time.
Minande, yeah, that's like a
Purple berry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's and then we have here roll dice to determine who goes first. Highest number goes first. Starting from who goes first, use a clockwise turn rotation. Player must roll dice and move accordingly to number called. Then a player must translate the word Anishinaabe word on moving spaces. If the player lands on a colored spin wheel, the player must spin. Draw a colorful money bill and say the dollar amount, the color, whatever. Each player gets one roll per turn. The player with the most money at the end wins. Each player must get a meal, then each player counts the money in Anishinaabe. See, like I'm gonna count down.
Oh, yeah.
Like this here. If you get you get this in your game, they say you count the money. So 50 and 20 would be 70, 50, 60, 70. So how would you say 70 now? Nana Nigadaswe Nishwaswe Nishwaswe
Nishwaswe Simidina.
Yeah.
Nishwa Simidina.
Yeah, that's how you'd have to count. It's just like adding 50 and 20.
Nishwa Simidina Guabik,
Yeah.
$70.
Yeah. And then say if you got if you only come out with like say 5, say 5, you only had $6 when somebody won, or if you won $6. 5 and 1 make 6. And it's a color. So how do you say 5 and 1 is 6?
Ningudaswe.
Ningudaswe.
Ningudaswe Wabik.
Yeah. You'd say $6. You add the number and then the little number, or say 10. 10 and 5, you say Midaswe Ashinanan, that's 15. So you'll be able to, I think that's the easy way to how to count money,
Yeah, so they don't even have, like, the teaching, here's how they look. Just little playful bills. So you can, cultural teachers, language teachers teaching kids from like 8 to...
Even teaching little kids, Head Start kids.
Yeah, you could just teach them through this.
Kindergarten. Just then they learn how to add to it, how
Oh yeah.
how to work with numbers.
Pagindaso, count or read.
Pindasada.
Yeah. Here's a good one. For all you grandmas out there, if they want the money, then they have to ask for it in the language.
Yes. Yeah. Gidana, Bejikwabik, you have $1.
Yeah, Gidana need Nanobik, you have $5, You can, Anthony used to always ask for 2. Gidana Nishwabik. Now he says Gidana Gidana Ingodok, he says. You have 100? Now that he's done with school. Gidana Ingodok.
I'm excited to see what he goes to school for because he was really skilled in music. He could play the piano and graphic design, computer graphic design. I told him, I said, you know, if you either or whatever you take up, I said, because when he made that artwork for that Indian man and that bear or that native man, that was just advanced artwork. I just couldn't believe it when I first seen that last year.
Yeah, he won contest. He's a good artist.
I told him, I said, take that up because
He wants to take computers or IT or whatever.
oh yeah, yep, computer design and stuff like that. Not even that. I think it's just
Yeah, he was helping Chaz here when Chaz would he'd go and film for Chaz. Twice, I think he only did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wish we had more of the kids like that, especially the ones in 10th, 11th, and 12th. I mean, we got a lot of work that they could probably help us out, especially if it comes to like internet and art and all of that. I mean, you probably need some help, you know,
Oh, yeah.
putting together these things too, you know. And I think, especially if they volunteer, I mean, they don't have to necessarily get paid, you know, because there's a process to that. But we would do that too. But it really looks good on their
resume.
admission
Yeah.
forms.
Oh yeah.
You know, to say that they work with a nonprofit organization. Well, of course, the whole res is nonprofit, but just to do it to get the experience, I think is a real good resume builder, and especially if they're doing it in a nonprofit way or in a volunteer way. I mean,
Yep.
so yeah, any of the kids that are out there, we're be more than happy to work with you if you want to do something on, you know, even if you wanted to do a little show, you know what I mean? Or even if they did a podcast or whatever it might be. One of the things I always wanted to do when we first started out was to do like a video game show. You know what I mean? Where they just get on here and they talk about whatever the latest games are, and
I was
you know,
gonna talk to you about
some
that.
of the strategies. You know, like PUBG was the thing. You know, I don't even know what it is now. You know,
Apex.
Apex. Okay, yeah. So just to get on the air and just talk about that. You know, maybe just different strategies or anything of that sort. So that's something that is possible if it's of interest to the community. We definitely want to, you know, create that sense of, I don't know, like this is what we do. You know what I mean? This is us.
And then expanding our listening, reaching out to that generation. I think that's what I wanted to do when I first started here. I wanted to, if I did have a radio talk show, I love doing the language and stuff. I'd love it. It's my passion. But if I had another different slot, that's what I would love to do. Video games,
Yeah, maybe we'll.
movies, pop culture,
Yeah.
just stuff like even just an hour a day. Not even invite some of the kids from the community to come up, talk about their favorite gaming platform or whatever. If they're streaming, a lot of them stream now.
Yep.
It would be awesome to do that with the youth.
Yeah, you could get all the latest scoop on. I was gonna say Beyonce, but she's probably too old. That's like way back.
Yeah, that's early 2000s.
But yeah, if you wanted to do something like that, go for it. And that's why I say, I mean, anybody out there, you know, in the community, if they have something that they want to share. I know we've had people approach us about doing some live call-in stuff. We have the technology to do that, so it just of course you got to be wary, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And follow the regulations of the FCC. You know, you don't want to get our jeopardize our licensing here or anything of that sort. So a lot of things, and plus also, you know, if it's experimental or maybe it's something on the edge or whatever, they could probably do it to where they're what do you call it? Where it's on the internet only.
Oh yeah,
Just like a podcast.
Yep.
And that's actually like a practice ground too, that they could do this stuff. I know HW Heart Warrior used to come up here, and we helped her do a little podcast thing that she started, you know. And I think the other one too was her cousin Maurice Chosa. He came up here and he did a little show. Actually, a couple of them. I think he did like a sled dog thing, and then he moved it into a like just a general dog type show. And I think he had who's that? Lorna Langman came up and helped him out on that too. So she was kind of like the little host that they would bounce ideas back and forth. So any ideas that you have out there, you know, that's kind of what we're doing here with the language. And if there's anybody else that wants to get up here and host some type of show, I know Kurt, when Kurt worked here, he wanted to do a bluegrass show. Hey, we went ahead and bought all these CDs, these bluegrass. I don't think he made one show out of them, but we have a library of blues music now, or bluegrass.
Bluegrass.
Yeah. So I know Marty. He's probably waiting on doing a Lawrence Welk special or something like that, bringing back Lawrence Welk. No. But yeah, anybody. And we're headed towards, we're almost here to story time here. So shout out to the Boys and Girls Club. You can kind of start getting your kids together, and Karen's going to go on here for, let's see, in about 2.5 minutes, and share some of her thoughts, stories, or whatever it might be. And so stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, let me see, I'm going to play a couple of the
Big song.
yeah.
Neashing songs?
Yeah. We got rock in one.
I don't think, Darren, I think you're going to have to find us more of those Neoshin songs. I only got a few of them here.
Fishy.
I think,
Anishinaabe.
let me see if I can, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 songs, and the ones that are, this one's called Calypso.
No, not that one.
There's one called Soul. It says James Brown on it. I don't know what that is. There's one called Rock.
That one.
That one? Okay, we'll play the rock one.
The kids used to dance to that. Neiman, dance. You're saying Kweshiganabu. Giwisin.
Giwisin?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're saying Gawin, Nikandazi. I don't-
Candazi.
Kweshiganabu, Ada, Giwisini, Gawin.
Then they're saying what?
they're saying, Wajiganabu, Gada, Wisini, eat your soup.
What was the Gawin part? Don't
That's,
what?
No,
Gawin came.
no, I don't know what's going on. Gawin, ni Candace, I don't know. It's Gawin could be no, could be
Like just a negative
Yeah.
Gawin, and then in Kangazi is.
yeah, I don't know ni Candace.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like I ask you, George, what is that? You'd say Gawin ni Candace. I don't know.
Okay.
Gawin ni Candace.
All right.
I don't know.
Well, we're a little behind here. I hope the kids are gathered up, but you can go ahead and start.
Okay. Buju binujiag, buju chil, skill quag, skill niniog. Binu gigago now quag. Anines chigain nungum. Anines webak bujing. Minogi shigat nungum. Nice day out. Minogi shigat. I said, Anines webak bujing. I said, how's the weather outside? Anin esha webak bujing. Then I want everybody to, let's count to 20 first before we have our story. Basic, everybody, even the big boys, the big kids. Basic, Nish, Niswe, Niwin, Nanan, Ningodaswe, Nijwaswe, Nishwaswe, Zhangiswe, Midaswe. That's 10, Midaswe. And you go from 10 and 1 is 11. Midaswe, Ashibejik. Midaswe, Ashinij. Midaswe, Ashiniswe. Midaswe, Ashiniwin. Midaswe, Ashinanan. Midaswe, Ashiningodaswe. Midaswe, Ashinijwaswe. Midaswe, Ashinishwaswe. Midaswe, Ashiniwin. Midaswe, Ashinanan. 15. Did I mess up? I think I messed
I
up.
think you messed up, but
I think I did 10 to 15. Then I was supposed to go to 16.
Yep.
Midaswe, Shiningodaswe. Midaswe, Ashinijwaswe. Midaswe, Ashinishwaswe. Midaswe, Ashinijwaswe. Midaswe. What?
just Nishtana.
Oh yeah, then from 19 you go to 2. Nishtana.
Yeah, Nishtana.
Nishtana, then you start all over again. Nishtana, Ashibeshik. 20 and 1 is 21. Nishtana, Ashibeshik. It's going to be easy to learn once you keep practicing. But even during the day, say an Indian word to yourself. Then you will know. And then when the kids come in the morning, the adults would say, Mino Gajeb, good morning. Mino Gajeb, that means good morning. Mino Gajeb, Nij. And that's just learning. And yous are going to be the ones to get our language back. Yous are going to be, we're going to depend on yous to get the language back. But I was kind of thinking of a story. Oh, it's a story about Miinan, blueberries. Miinan are blueberries. Yesterday, my niece, Kathy Strong, bought me a quart of blueberries for my ceremonies. So I got 6 little bags out of them, and I only use them for ceremonies. The ones we get from the forest. Nopaming is a forest. So I have them in my freezer. But I'm gonna nagi the bachamun away. Me nagi minan. I picked berries when I was your age. I can remember. I was only like probably 6 years old. I was Ningodaswe Nibibunigiz, 6 years old. I remember I knew it was going to be blueberry picking time, so us kids were kind of really happy that we knew it was picking time, because my uncle would take our jeep on and he'd go paddling down the river, because we didn't have no cars then. We just had boats. Maybe at the most around that lake here, there was only 3 cars that would take people to town. They'd hire people to town, but we had boats. So I'd see my mother, my aunt, my grandma. They'd all be packing things up in the morning or the day before. They'd be putting stuff in canvas bags, like flour, baking powder, tea. They'd have nibish, and they'd take dudu shabu in a can. They were in cans then. We didn't have no fresh milk that you get right from the refrigerator. We don't even have a refrigerator. Anyway, my uncle had 2 great big boats behind him. They were all loaded up with supplies. And we'd leave around maybe 9 o'clock. It'd take us about an hour and a half to go down the river, paddle down the river. And we'd take like Bejik, Nish, Niswe, Jimanak, 3 boats. We take with the people in there, then we'd have two boats behind with all the supplies, blankets that we used to cover up with, and they'd have sun in a bottle, matches so they wouldn't get wet. And they'd make boxes where to put our blueberries in, and we'd take an hour to just paddle down there. And when we get down there, my uncle just knew where to go, because he was out there already looking, finding our berries where we were going to pick. And we'd all get off on the shore of the river. We always stayed by a river close to water. And then we'd all haul stuff up to the camping ground there. Our adults would put up the wigwams or whatever they were going to sleep under, and then they'd get done by probably by 1 o'clock, and they'd cook outside. They'd say cook outside. They'd have a big kettle hanging, or they'd make naboob soup. And then sometimes after we got done eating, we'd each get a pail. They'd wash out old cans, and my grandpa used to make holes in there and put some wire, like a little pail, and they'd give us each a little pail that we can go fill up. And we had to go and dump it in our parents' where they were picking. So even the kids had to help. We couldn't go just play out there in It used to remind me of old Indian camp long time ago. You see in the pictures, like there'd be wigwam here, run here, kind of like in a circle. That's the way they probably did long time ago when there was no, before houses came. And we'd pick till about maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock. We'd pick and we'd all come in, and our aunts and our grandma and mom would all cook. They would, like, they'd make bannock over the hot coals, and they have a great big kettle, and they'd boil some water, and they'd throw some probably potatoes, pinyin in there, and they'd throw some kind of maybe pork in there, and they'd make Anishinaabe. That's it's called Anishinaabe. You can see Anishinaabe in their bread, you know, in like dumpling soup. That's what it was called. And we'd all sit around on the ground, and we'd listen in. We'd eat. We'd namattabe, and we'd eat, and then when we got done eating with our bowls or something, my grandma had a pail, big 2 pails that would be, we'd have to go wash our bowls and then rinse them, and then put them aside for the next day. We had to wash our own. We couldn't just throw them and leave them. And they were showing us how to take care our stuff, like our spoon, our bowl, and that's what they were teaching us, how to care for it, how to work hard, how to go pick. And then we'd use that money, the blueberries that we picked. Our parents would order clothes for us for the coming school year, and like socks, and everybody would go barefoot. It all went all summer, and until the fall we'd get a new pair of shoes for school, and we'd get some new clothes. But as soon as we got off school, we had to change our clothes and put them away for the next day, because we were so poor we couldn't afford to just wear them around playing and stuff. But I just enjoyed that. I wished somebody would have had a camera years ago just to take pictures of what we did out on a blueberry camp. Sometimes someone would go fishing. The boys would go fish, like my cousin Billy and Justin and my brother Squeak. They'd all go down there and fish. And we'd have my Aunt Ruby used to fry the fish gigu. That's fish gigu. And no, Makwa never bothered us. Makwa. Every once in a while we'd see Wawashkishi. We'd see Shishib. Shishib is a duck. And that was good. Tastes good out there, cooking by the river. It was food was so good.
Shishibuyas.
Yeah, and then that's what they were doing. They were teaching us how to work hard, how to help, help getting paying for our own clothes, wash our own dishes, help your parents.
Yeah.
And that was a teaching. That was part of a teaching that was done. And it just okay me.